It's the battle of the Poco X2 and the Realme X2, two relatively new smartphones that share quite a lot more in common than just their names. These two models tick off nearly all the boxes that buyers look for in terms of features and specifications in a sub 20,000 rupee phone, including their cameras. If photography is your number one priority when buying a new smartphone, which one of these two should you choose? We're about to find out. Before we get started though, do remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we post a new video. Both the Poco X2 and the Realme X2 boast of quad camera setups with 64 megapixel primary rear cameras. You can see the full rear camera specs for both phones on screen now. The two phones' camera apps show completely different approaches to design. Neither one is perfect and both require a bit of exploring and learning. The Realme X2 produced a slightly crisper daytime landscape shot with better contrast and focus, but I did find that it had a slightly warm color tone which wasn't exactly accurate. The Poco X2 was more neutral and did a better job with details in the distance. Neither phone's wide-angle camera was very good, which was to be expected. Photos were dull and distant objects were poorly defined. Close-up shots taken with the Poco X2 looked more realistic, while the Realme X2 blew out warm colors. Natural depth of field in extreme close-ups was also very good with both phones. I did notice slightly better contrast and subtle details with the Poco X2 though. For macros, I felt that the Poco X2 did a better job of highlighting very fine detail with very tight focus, but the Realme X2 produced more vivid shots. The Poco X2's macros tended to look a little washed out. Portrait mode resulted in a more pronounced depth effect on the Poco X2 than on the Realme X2. Once again, I noticed warmer colors on the latter, which tended to make skin tones look too red. Before we talk about selfies, let's take a look at the front camera specs for both smartphones. The Realme X2 handled selfies a bit better with more natural skin tones and less obvious automatic beautification. In portrait mode with the front cameras, the Realme X2 adjusted itself to light our face more evenly, but this caused the background to be overexposed. I actually think this was the right call to make, because the Poco X2 usually made us look like our faces were in the shadows, and the backgrounds aren't always as important in portraits. At night, the Realme X2 showed better overall results. Colors were more vivid and contrast was a little more punchy with noise well under control. The Poco X2 delivered slightly brighter photos, but this came at the cost of a little noise and colors looked a bit faded. Unfortunately, neither phone's wide-angle camera was worth using at night. As for low-light selfies, the Poco X2 captured a sharper background again, but this time my face was also better lit while the Realme X2 stumbled a little. Results with video were a bit surprising. In the daytime at 1080p, the Poco X2's footage stuttered a little while the Realme X2 was smooth throughout. However, in stark contrast, the Poco X2 did much better with 4K, delivering stable and usable footage, while the Realme X2 couldn't keep up and turned every step we took into a major bump. These two phones were more evenly matched at night. Footage was shaky and there were visible artifacts, but focus remained accurate. The Realme X2 did seem to capture slightly better footage in terms of detail and clarity at night. Even though I would have liked to pick a clear winner, it's just too close to call at the moment. The cameras of the Poco X2 are a little more likely to be more useful in more situations that are important to users, but I wouldn't be missing out on very much if I chose the Realme X2. That was our look at the cameras of the Poco X2 and the Realme X2. You can check out our full comparison between these two phones at gadgets360.com. Thanks for watching.